Financial Literacy 101, how to save money right now. These are my best money saving tips for you to save more money fast. If there's one common issue we face around the world, is that saving money, it's not easy. With the rising cost of living, seemingly things getting more and more expensive every day, and wages and salaries just not keeping up. It's tough. We are forced to make our money stretch further and further each and every single day. And this hurts our ability to save. This is why I'm going to share with you my money saving tips that I use personally and I know others have implemented in their own lives to help increase their savings rate. What's up everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I'm your host Danish and I'm in personal finance, investing, and real estate topics easy to understand and keep up with. Have you ever wondered if you're the only one who is having a hard time saving money? I'm about to show you that you are not alone. Saving money is a challenge around the world, whether you're in the United States, Canada, Japan, UK, or wherever else you may be. A common rule of thumb that financial advisors recommend is that you should save a minimum of 10% of your paycheck. This is the minimum you need to save if you want to have money in retirement and for other expenses when you're no longer earning a salary. My personal rule of thumb is that you should be saving at least 20% instead to give you a little bit more wiggle room. It's important to save what you can, not just for retirement, but for other emergencies and for other major life events, so you're not forced to borrow and go into debt for these one-off expenses. Take a look at this chart. It shows you the savings rate of a few countries worldwide up until 2019. From 2016 to 2019, most Canadians have a hard time saving even 2% of their earnings, meaning most of them are living paycheck to paycheck. This may also coincide with the fact that Canada has one of the highest cost of living standards in the world, especially when you factor in real estate, because you have to pay a higher portion of your salary to service your mortgage or rent. The United States, in comparison, is doing a much better job, but still well below the minimum 10% required to save comfortably for retirement. So you can see from this chart that saving money worldwide is a major issue. Why is saving money such an issue? Well, here's the thing. When expenses are growing faster than your income is growing, that's what makes it so tough. You have to allocate more and more of your income to even higher expenses. This is why it's so important to take full advantage of each and every tip I'm about to share with you in this video, because I really want you to be able to save more of your hard-earned money. Tip number 1, set a budget. This may sound obvious, and it should, because this is probably one of the most crucial tips I can share with you. It's hard to know how much you'll be able to put away into savings if you don't know how much money you'll actually be able to put into savings. Putting away too much money too early can wreak havoc on your checking account and might require you to transfer money back into your checking account from savings, and this generally creates a strain on your finances. Because at the start, it may seem like you're saving money, then you take that money and transfer it into your checking account and it gets spent, now you have no savings. In simple terms, budgeting is a process for creating a plan on how your money will be spent. The spending plan is called a budget. Creating the spending plan allows you to determine in advance whether you'll have enough money to do the things you need to do or would like to do. If you don't have enough money to be able to do everything that you would like to do, then you can use this planning process to prioritize your spending and focus your money on the things that are most important to you. The way I think about budgeting is that it's a plan for my money. It's essentially a roadmap of how I'm going to allocate different buckets of money to different resources, to different expenses. This process allows you to make sure you have enough money to spend on things that you really need and the things that are most important to you. Following a budget or a spending plan will also keep you out of debt. Or if you are currently in debt, it will help you get out of debt by making sure you allocate a portion of your monthly budget to servicing that debt every month or every week or whatever you see fit. Once you create your first budget, begin to use it and get a feel of how it's keeping your finances on track. You may want to map out your spending plan or budget for at least the next 6 months, or maybe to even a year down the road. By going through this process, you can easily tell which months your budget will be tight and which months you may have some extra little bit of money. You can then look for ways to even out the highs and the lows so that your finances are much more manageable. Setting a budget does not have to be a complicated process. Keep things simple so that way you can actually stick to your budget. You'll be amazed of how much you'll learn about your own money just by keeping track of where it goes, I promise you. Tip number 2, the 24-hour rule. Avoid purchasing expensive or unnecessary items on impulse by implementing a self-imposed 24-hour rule. For any non-essential item, wait 24 hours before you make your purchase. It's perfect for online shopping, where you can add things to a cart or a basket and then come back to later on. The lockdowns and COVID-19 have caused an explosion in online shopping and online impulse purchases. How often do you find yourself browsing Amazon just because you're bored or need something to do? You may find yourself looking for deals on things you need or want, and often enough, there's something that catches your eye which is on sale with a countdown timer telling you, don't miss out. You may have found an amazing deal that you just can't pass up. Here's a little side note. Be careful. There are all sorts of things you'll find on Amazon that you may think you need in that very moment, which is why it's so important to add it to your basket. Sure, go ahead, but don't buy it just right now or in that moment. Come back to it and see if you still want it. Let me tell you how I avoid these impulse purchases. It's because I'm a CPA and then I would have to update my budget and it's a whole thing with my spreadsheet. No, it's because I use the 24-hour rule. When I see an ad for any product, whether I'm shopping in store or I'm browsing online, or maybe I'm even driving my car, if it's not a planned purchase, I simply wait 24 hours. There are very few deals I've missed by implementing the 24-hour rule in my own life. But I've saved on a ton of things that I thought I needed, but 24 hours later, I'd completely forgotten about them. Waiting 24 hours does 2 things. 1, it gives you the opportunity to check with your spending plan/budget or your spouse, whichever is appropriate. Number 2, it separates you from the emotional manipulations that advertising and marketing companies use to get you to buy stuff. And yes, they are very, very good at this. Plan what you spend and spend what you plan. Tip number 3, food and groceries. When it comes to groceries, keep and follow a list. This may seem like a no-brainer, but many of us shop without any clear direction when we're at the grocery store, grabbing items as we see them and falling prey to those end-of-the-aisle deals that catch our attention with those flashy banners on those signs that say on sale now. A grocery list helps ensure you pick up only the items you actually need. You can keep a physical list, pen and paper style, and writing down items you need throughout the week as you run out of things at your home. Or if you prefer to go digital, there are many apps that you can use to create an ongoing grocery list. You can simply add to this list as you discover more items you need. I personally use Google Keep on my phone, and as soon as I notice I'm running out of something at home, I make it a habit to add it to the grocery list right away. It can be as easy and as simple as, hey Google, add jam to my grocery list.
Okay, I added jam.
It's just that easy. You can also share your grocery list with other members of your household if multiple people do the grocery shopping. I want you to do this next time you're at the grocery store. You're going to walk down the aisles as if you have blinders on with a laser focus on only getting the items you need and that are on your grocery list. This will not only save you money, but time, as you can get in and out of the grocery store buying the items you really need instead of wandering around the aisles and giving in to those snacking temptations. As a bonus side note, you can also use price matching apps or digital coupons that line up with the things you have on your grocery list to save even more money the next time you go grocery shopping. Clipping coupons, whether physically or digitally, may seem like a hassle, but every little bit helps and goes a long way when it comes to increasing your savings rate, because every little bit helps. Tip number 4, buying generic versus name brand. Let's start off with a thought. Are generic brands always cheaper than buying name brands? Not necessarily. If you shop sales, price match, or use coupons, there are many times where you can get the name brand version cheaper than the generic store brand. Let me give you an example. The other day I was at Costco and I needed facial tissues. I had two options. I could buy their Kirkland brand or Scotties, which everyone is familiar with. Turns out Scotties was on sale, so it was actually cheaper to go with the name brand option, as the cost per 100 tissues was actually lower than the Kirkland option. When comparing different brands to generic, look at the price per ounce, per gram, or per unit to see which option would net you a lower overall cost per usage. Here's an example. There are times when the generic brand diapers at Sam's Club are more expensive than the name brand options. In the end, it just comes down to doing your own research. Don't just grab the generic product thinking that it's always going to be cheaper than the name brand option. Check the prices and always compare the price per quantity. And don't be fooled by sales. As we just talked about, sometimes name brands are cheaper when they're on sale, but that may not always be the case. That's why it's so important to check the price per quantity. You might be wondering, why do name brands tend to cost more than store brands? It really depends on the product, but for the most part, name brands have to put a lot of money into research, development, and marketing costs in order to build up their name. Name brands may have fancier packaging, a wider range of flavor options, or contain trendier supplements than generic brands, but they aren't always necessarily made of higher quality ingredients. Don't let the buzzwords and fancy packaging on expensive products fool you. Always check their labels. And when it comes to any one ingredient product, like sugar, salt, baking soda, flour, etc., it's safe to say that the name brand option is not going to be better than the generic option. So I would always go generic in those situations. In some cases, brand name manufacturers actually white label for store brand products. Did you know that select varieties of Kirkland Signature coffee is actually roasted by Starbucks? According to one report, Kirkland Signature batteries are actually made by Duracell. These are just a few examples, but there are many, many more examples out there. Are you interested in free money? Use my promo codes in the description below for discounts and sign-up bonuses. Do you have questions for me or feedback on this video, or maybe ideas on future content? Drop them in the comments below, and while you're at it, make sure you've hit that like and subscribe button. That's it for now. I'll catch you guys in the next one.